I understand you have a briefing with the FBI a little bit later today. What are the questions you have for them, sir?
Right, Jonathan. Well, certainly that is the first up question. How could this ever happen? As we're learning more about how these events unfolded, it becomes even more unexplainable and unbelievable that this individual would have had the ability to pull this off by himself, that this vulnerability would have been there at the event, and that he would have had access to it and the ability to execute in a manner which put Donald Trump's life at risk. Thank God Donald Trump is alive, and his iconic rise from the stage to show America that he's alive and that, you know, his strength was shown. That certainly plays a tremendous amount of impact on world leaders to see, you know, the strength of Donald Trump.
Chairman, this isn't the first Secret Service security lapse we've seen in our country. And something we've been grappling with all morning is this question of, is it a resource issue or is it a protocol issue? Do you have an understanding?
Yeah, those are two of the questions, right? But on the protocol issue, it also goes to why is it that he was not shot until after he was shooting, when we obviously know there were a number of individuals who identified both his location and that he had a weapon. Then also on the issue of resources, why wasn't the perimeter larger? Why weren't there more people that were there protecting former President Donald Trump? All of those are questions we're going to get to, but the reality is that in the end, this is something that's going to land on somebody's desk as they're responsible, and we want to find, you know, who that is and how these decisions were made, but also how this came about, where this kid, who seemingly did nothing in his life up to this point that was extraordinary, was able to take advantage of what was an obvious vulnerability.
Right, and the distance, less than 450 feet away from a former president. Congressman, your committee, what role can that play in this investigation?
Well, certainly we'll be working with the Government Oversight Committee, of which I'm a member, the Judiciary Committee and the Intelligence Committee, and even Homeland Security Committee. This will go across several, as it should. This is going to be an unfolding investigation because it is going to involve not only agencies but individuals, and certainly the circumstances of this shooter and how he ended up on that roof.
Congressman, considering that we don't have the answers to these questions, and considering the Republican National Convention is still going forward, I have to ask you this, and I understand it's a difficult question to answer, but how on earth can we have any confidence that we have sufficient security at an event like the one we are having this week when we don't have the answers to the questions we all have about Saturday evening?
Right. Well, I've called for, reassessment of the security plans for both conventions, and I think the perimeters should be enlarged. I think we were just hearing from your own reporter that, in fact, the perimeter is being enlarged. That does make a difference. The fact that you can control the space, you can control access, that certainly lessens overall the risk.